Hi everyone, so I've just started the live for today and we'll be speaking about top tips in managing your studies at university, and I'm just going to invite Megan joining us in a minute. Hi Megan.
Hiya.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Thanks for joining us today. I was
No
just
problem at all.
explaining to those people who tuned in a little bit early that today we'll be speaking about top tips in managing your studies. Um, I guess I'll introduce myself first for those who haven't seen one of these before. My name's Rowena. I did my undergrad and my master's here, and I'm currently doing my PhD in psychology. Megan?
I'm Megan. I am also doing a PhD at the University of Kent. I did my undergrad and my MA also at Kent in English literature.
Awesome. So hopefully some of our tips today might help someone out there, um, help you manage your studies. I know everything's a bit different now, and especially um, with transitioning from school to university, it's quite a big jump. And even from undergrad, I found to postgrad level, it's quite tricky and I needed to adapt. So hopefully some of our tips today might help someone out there.
Yeah.
Hopefully somebody, one person would be great. Again, not all our tips are going to be a quick fix to everything. So some might work, some might not. And feel free to let us know what your tips are in the comments below. So I find it quite tricky, I guess. The most challenging part was structuring my time because you're expected to do a lot more independent studying and making sure that you set these goals that you would like to achieve in a day and get those done, but make sure that you can actually achieve them. Don't say like, yes, I'll finish this whole chapter, which is totally unrealistic. So I
Yep.
might set a word limit or just have a target to look at a certain area or just a specific stats analysis. Yeah, I think that'll be my top tip. What about you, Megan?
And I'm very bad at setting myself achievable goals, but I've become far better with it through time. Especially when it came to things like reading, I'd have either a novel to read sometimes a week or a couple of big articles. Making sure I gave myself enough time through the course of the week to do those things was always a good thing. At one point, I'd put up a chart with sort of a list of numbers on it on my wall, and I'd cross it off depending on how many numbers of hours I'd work per day. It helped me figure out what times of days I'd work the best, how many hours a day
Mm.
I was working. And it was really good just to see where I was working and I could be more productive in those hours. Like, I don't know about you, I'm not very good in the mornings. I work far better in sort of the afternoons and evenings.
Mm.
So I made sure to structure my time so I'd do all my procrastination in the morning and then make sure I knuckle down and actually do my reading in the evenings.
That's so funny. I'm like the total opposite. I have to get it done in the morning. In the evening, I just can't focus.
Yeah, I think it's
Mm.
possibly a stress reaction where it's I've just spent my morning doing nothing. I need to actually focus, and maybe I've trained myself like that. But it's a good way of I know when I'm productive, so I can't miss that time in my head. I've made
Mm.
a point of myself saying, right, you work best between 3 and 7. You're working between 3 and 7. It's non-negotiable to myself.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, there are times where you do also need to know when working isn't productive, though. I'll admit
Mm.
I can be a bit too easy on myself, or I'll give myself days off where I don't need to. But having a kind of routine and a structure, even if it's Monday to Friday, if it's slightly different, knowing there are certain times in the week where this is my uni time, I've set it aside, this is where I need to meet my
Mm.
deadlines, that really helps me at the moment.
Definitely. So I guess another thing as well with sort of setting yourself goals. I don't know about you, but I find it loads of people always like, oh yeah, do you want to do a Zoom party or do you want to play a game? And then you're still thinking like, oh no, I haven't done that task that I've set myself to do today. And it's just being able to sort of say no in a way, but then
Yeah,
all throughout your day, the next day, to make sure you've done everything so you can commit to sort of more social activities, because that's also something really important. Being able to unwind and de-stress, particularly if we're all stuck at home and we can't go have that routine of going somewhere. Um,
yeah. I've still
yeah.
been trying to schedule my days as if I'm going to appointments, if that makes
Mm.
sense. Even though I'm barely leaving my house.
Yeah.
I schedule my appointments. So, for example, it's between 9 and 11.
Mm.
Sometimes it's do some reading or do something. I block out a lunch break. I block out a time where I do some exercise. I block out my social time with my friends on Zoom or
Mm.
something. It's good that I having that structure is a thing that keeps me working, because
Mm.
at the moment time is almost irrelevant and every day blurs into one another. So making myself sort of book time for myself to do the work
Mm.
things and the fun things, found has been quite
Mm.
helpful.
Definitely. I think you mentioned as well, before when we spoke about this, that separating your studying space from your sleeping place, if possible, just to get your mind in that
Yeah.
mentality, I guess.
Yeah, so I'm just going to check the coast is clear and like I've tidied. So like I don't see this is my workspace and it's so close to my bed. It is
Mm.
unbelievable. Making my bed a kind of boundary for me has been quite important. I will not work in
Mm.
my bed. My bed is for sleep. My desk is for where I work. So
Mm.
I can tell when I sort of have a 10-minute break or a lunch break, I can lay on my bed, I can go on Facebook,
Mm.
I can go on social media. But when I'm working, I sit at my desk. I've managed to get a back support. So I've made my desk space a comfortable space. I've got a cookbook stand, which you're currently propped on,
Nice.
which helps sort of set up my work so it's in front of me so I
Mm.
can't just lose my paperwork in a pile of papers.
Mm.
I've made my desk space a space where I have to sort of come to work, even though I'm under a step away from my bed.
Mm.
Um, I understand that especially during lockdown, depending on if you're on campus, off campus, it's not exactly ideal with having a lot of different spaces to work at. But sometimes if I
Mm.
feel like I'm not working very well in my room, I'll change it up a bit. I'll go downstairs
Mm.
and work at the kitchen table. I'll sit in the lounge sometimes. And if I've got an article to read, I can just sit on the sofa for a bit. And just having a change of scenery can sometimes be as good as
Mm.
a rest, or going out for a walk in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Has been
Mm.
really nice as well to
I was just
change
gonna
up.
say, when I find it hard to focus, just getting out for like a couple, even like 5, 10 minutes, just to get your head out of sort of this sort of like, I guess, stuckness. If I'm
Yeah,
stuck on something and I just needed to get like something different, some different scenery, and just getting outside real quick and then for like a quick walk around the block and then come back.
yeah. This is going to sound
Reading. Mm.
a bit strange, but when lockdown first started and I have my paid work days, I was finding it difficult to sort of start at the time I meant to start my paid work. So I'd almost do my commute, but sort of halfway there and halfway back, just go for a little walk and back. So it felt like I'd left the house. I almost one day I was going to bring my backpack, so it felt more like a commute because I'd actually have
Mm.
my stuff. Um, and then yeah, come back, sit at my desk, and then I feel like I was at work rather than sort of just staying in the house, not getting any fresh air. It made me feel more awake and ready to start the day at the time I was meant to start the day.
Mm. Um, yeah, it's a really good one. I think also phones as well is quite a big, just thinking of distractions and things to help you focus. Phone's quite a big one for me.
Yeah.
And I didn't know this, but until quite recently, but you can change your sync alerts on your phone. Because it
Oh,
never
okay.
occurred to me to change those, to make them a bit longer so your phone's not constantly going off with emails. And if you are waiting for a call, it's not as drastic as turning your phone off completely. And I know some people, I probably am quite attached to my phone,
Yeah.
having it next to you, just knowing it's there. Or I don't know, you never know who's going to call you, the medical center or family, I don't know. But just having it there, but knowing that it's not going to constantly go off with email alerts or messenger chats or Instagram things, and notifications, just having that, making sure
Yeah.
that you can sort of have a bit of calm and a bit of quiet, I guess. So that was quite a good tip that I'm gonna definitely put on my emails for sure.
Yeah, I know that's one thing I struggle with is if I get an email, I think it has to be answered straight away. My
Mm.
solution has been slightly less technical, which has been just to throw my phone on my bed behind me. So every time I get a break, I can pick up my
Mm.
phone, I can look at my phone, I can answer things like
Mm.
WhatsApps, emails. But while I'm actually focusing and working, the phone, because it doesn't involve me getting out of my chair, I make sure it's not within arm's reach so I can't just unconsciously pick it up and start looking at it.
Mm.
I throw it just out of arm's reach, not so far away that I can't hear it if it does ring, but far enough that it is an effort to get up and do it.
Mm.
Yeah. One
And
thing.
I guess having, sorry, just again,
Funny.
dependence on technology. I I don't even know what happened, but my phone calendar just all disappeared once a couple of years ago, and ever since then I've had a paper diary. So I guess just prepare for anything, because I had written down like all my lectures on there, on my phone calendar, and I had everything, all my meetings on there, and I had no backup, and I found it really hard that next month sort of working out where I was meant to be and trying to backtrack everything, go through emails.
Yeah.
And so I guess having that, not necessarily relating to improving your studies, but again, to the management side, if something does happen, and like me, your phone just decided one day, no, don't want to give you a diary.
Yeah.
Having that backup, because it's quite tricky otherwise, and I'm quite lost. I quite like a good list or a good thing to do.
Yeah, I have like a
And
kind of
having that.
dual system at the moment. So hang on, I don't know if I can flip this on Instagram. Let's have a play. So in front of me at my desk where I sit, I have, this is my sort of calendar, so I can track the days when I'm working, the days where I work. One of my jobs, the days when I work, the other of my jobs, so I can see visually where my PhD days go. So I can keep track of how many days I have to work to a deadline, which is helpful when I plan supervisions. It's helpful. I think we've all done the thing where we say, of course I can do that work in a fortnight, when actually it's a month's worth of work. Or of course I can get this thing read by tomorrow, and it's 2:00 in the morning and it's only half read. At least this way I can visually see what I need to do, when I need to do it by. And I found that really helpful going forward to see, right, I need to get this amount of work done. I have this many days that I can't work, which means I have X amount of time. This is my time to get my PhD work done. If I map that out into hours, that gives me so many hours. It gives me a hard deadline that I don't know about you. I can't work to a deadline that isn't there. I have to have a time where I'm told, right, you have until the 18th of December. This chapter needs to be finished then, which is my current deadline. I have to have that, not necessarily pressure, but I have to have an end goal, and knowing where that end goal is means I can map out my working days in a way where I figure out where I'm most productive and I get the most work done for my time.
That's a really good tip. Having that wall planners, or seeing it sort of all together in one place and being able to, I guess, see in advance a little bit.
Yeah.
So my diary is only like 1 week, so, and then I have to see the next week by flipping it over. So I guess I never flip it over unless it's the weekend, and I'm like, oh, what's next week?
Yeah.
And that's quite good to see ahead if you've got like big projects, I guess, and to know and to visualize it a bit better.
For me, it's always Mondays. Like if there's a Monday birthday, I will normally forget to post whatever it is before Monday. So that's why I quite like having the wall planner, because it doesn't catch you by surprise when you turn a page, or like the month-to-month diaries, you don't turn it over and then something's on the first. It's good to have it all laid in front of me so there's no surprises.
Definitely. With sort of diaries and planning as well, I don't know, I'm sure most people know this, but in case you didn't, you can sync your timetable, your university timetable, to your phone, and that's really helpful because it's all there. But again, we're saying like, oh yeah, have a backup, don't rely completely on technology, but it's also good to have it on you, just so if you're out or whatever, you get a ping on your phone and you're, oh yeah, I need to have this lecture at 3 or something, and you know where to be. Because I actually didn't know about that in my first year, and I was really worried. I don't know why, but I just didn't know how to do it, I think. But I went to the library, and they helped me out there and to sync it over, and it was really helpful knowing where I had to be at what time, and not having to log into Moodle every single time, and having that there.
It's nice to have that slight reminder. Like I set a reminder for my phone that we were doing this today, so 15 minutes before we we're going to do it. And I suppose I do a similar thing when I'm working. I set a 10-minute timer, so I'm one of those people where I only start working like on the hour. If it's 9:05, I'm like, oh, I can't get any work done until 10. So I'll set an alarm at 10 to 9. So I'm at my desk, I'm ready, everything's set up so I can start work at 9. It's a thing that I know it's purely one of my little quirks, but it's a quirk that works for me. So
like a lecture or something.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as I treat it like, I suppose some of the issues of working from home are that you are the person responsible for your time. It's up to you to be as responsible as you can. Sometimes I don't trust myself to be that responsible, so I set in these processes that make me responsible. And it's taken a lot of years of training for me to realize what works for myself. And I hope some of these help other people as well.
Yeah, definitely. As well, you mentioned as well the 25-minute timer on your phone, that app you've got, or the
Yeah,
method.
there's an app on laptops called Be Focus,
Mm.
which uses the Pomodoro technique for studying. I don't know if anyone's heard of it. It's 25 minutes of work and then 5 minutes of break. The timings can slightly adjust depending on how well you work. But if there's a day where I'm really stuck, I don't want to sit at my computer, it's a good way of saying, well, it's only 25 minutes. It gets your brain
Mm.
into it. It's enough time. And then you know there's a break coming. So it's good that it's not the prospect of sitting down and having to do 4 solid hours. It's 25 minutes, you get a break, and then it breaks it into manageable chunks. I use that a
Mm.
lot. And then especially I kind of make bargains with myself where it's like, if I get 3 25-minute chunks done, I get a snack. Or if I get 3 25-minute chunks done, I get to go for a walk or something like that. It's a good way of
Mm.
getting an amount of work done that you
Mm.
otherwise might have struggled to do all in one go. And the 5 minute breaks, you can get up, stretch your legs, wander downstairs like I do and just stare blankly into the fridge for something to do, or actually get some fresh air. It's a nice way of just mixing up your day a little bit, but having those sort of times of work where you focus, you get on with it, and it becomes far easier as the day progresses. You realize the ideas start flowing, your brain starts kicking into gear and realizing, oh, you're working today. It's a good way of getting into that habit.
Mm. Definitely. I don't know about you, but I definitely feel like it's really more difficult now to focus, especially working from home. It's an adjustment still. I think everyone is still adjusting, and having that dedicated time, and I guess someone looking over you in a way, because you've got that timer and you know there's a set time. It's not you necessarily deciding when that timer ends.
Yeah.
It's app itself. So that's quite good, I think, just having that there.
Yeah.
Mm. I think that's also on the one of the library e-resources on productivity. There's a whole list of them there, and you can scroll through. I think it was Stay Focused that was on there, but there's some other really good ones to help you with studying. It might just be um, sort of helping you around managing your time, and different apps and things, skills to help you work through some issues you've got. So yeah, have a look at those. I think they are on, if you just look up library e-resources. So I picked up a couple of them, and they were really helpful. And it was all, pretty sure they're all free, but I'll have another look at them. But it helped me think about other things. So like, oh yeah, maybe I can give this a go. That might help me, because it's something I'd never thought about before at the time. And they've got like a whole list of stuff, so you can just scroll through and see. Yeah, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at that, Megan, what your thoughts are on that.
I haven't had a big chance to look at it, but I know that there are a
Mm.
lot of resources that also the universities manage to get subscriptions through. There's also a lot of
Mm.
services where you can get free subscriptions. One of the things I've been using is the Calm app. Like if I'm
Mm.
starting to get a bit freaked out, if I think work's overwhelming, I use the Calm app. I have a 3 minute meditation, and then I feel like I can get back to work.
Mm.
Things like that have also helped when I feel like work might be sort of overwhelming, the amount of work, and trying to
Mm.
figure out how to do it at home. There are also a lot of resources that seminar leaders, course conveners may know of that may help you, that may
Mm.
be more
Yeah.
course specific. The library resources, also Kent Union has a lot of access to the wellbeing services
Mm.
and things that may find sort of they have more access to tools that may help you going forward,
Mm.
if it's a problem with managing anxiety or stress, or if it's a
Mm.
problem with the amount of workload. Talking to people in the department and flagging, not necessarily for struggling, but if you are, or if there's a scenario where you feel like you could benefit from a bit of assistance, there's always more resources that can help you. Like,
Mm.
I'm not trained in any way, but
Likewise.
there are
Mm.
people on campus that
Mm.
know far more than I do that can be really helpful.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely reach out if you're a bit unsure, because everyone's really friendly and they're here to help you. And there is a lot of help available, but it's just reaching out, and people will signpost you, people will guide you, but they'll know sort of where to guide you. And if you're not sure who to go to, they'll really help you with that. So definitely, if you do feel that might help you, I'd highly recommend it.
Yeah, I know some
Mm.
departments, the School of English is one of them, is starting to do sessions which are kind of silent study sessions where there's almost an hour
Mm.
where everyone goes onto a Zoom meeting together with mics off but cameras on and just sits and works for an hour. And at the end of the hour, you have a
Mm.
cup of tea together and have a chat.
Mm.
Resources like that are really good. Some departments do sort of informal study days together.
Mm.
It's really nice that there are some communities, or get together with some people on your course. And if you want to talk through some of the work you have to do to try and understand it either before your seminar
Mm.
or in some group work, it's a good way of talking through a paper, an
Mm.
idea, a concept before your seminar to get a grasp of, if you might not quite get this concept, someone else might not.
Mm.
It's a good way to partly sort of re-socialize ourselves in a world where we can't really socialize anymore,
Mm.
but also to do it through work as a means of bonding. I mean, I'm trying to think of a way of saying this that doesn't sound really corny, but if you can bond through the work, it helps you understand it more, I find.
Yeah, definitely. Just even talking about it to someone else, I think really helps. And now, if you're just stuck in your house with whoever's in your house, then they might not necessarily be studying what you're studying, so it doesn't really make sense. It's be a one-way dialogue. But if you've got
Yeah,
like a little Zoom group with people on your course or just some friends, you can have a sort of relay and dialogue and hopefully talk through it. I think that really helps me with solving problems and getting like a different perspective on it. To see how other people would solve it, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that actually.
yeah,
And it stops you getting in this sort of rut, being like stuck in there, being like, oh, beating yourself up, no, I can't do this question.
yeah.
And just again, that social element you mentioned really helps, because it might be quite tricky sort of being on your own if you're stuck with that issue. But yeah, any other tips you'd like to share? I think that's all my tips out for
I'm trying to
today.
think. I know what I mentioned earlier about switching it up, like if you want to sit downstairs. Another thing that I find quite
Mm.
important is lighting, making sure that you've got
Yeah.
enough light to work with. If I work in a
Mm.
dark room, I will want to go to sleep, which when I'm this close to my bed isn't a good thing. So making sure you're in a room with adequate light. At the moment, I've got 3 different lights on to illuminate my lovely face on Instagram, but having the right kind of lighting, having the right settings. A thing I've done
Mm.
recently is buy some of those blue light glasses so that I don't strain my eyes by working
Mm.
too much on the laptop, and also not expecting a ridiculous amount of myself at the moment. I know, I don't know if there are any other perfectionists out there, but I always want to do everything perfectly or it's not worth trying.
Mm.
I saw a quote recently that says something like, if something's worth doing, it's worth doing badly, because then at least you're doing it. That's the kind of thing that
Mm.
I'm learning. I'm not saying do everything badly on purpose, but I'm saying getting like with my writing, a draft isn't necessarily a good version of it, but it is a version,
Sure.
it is a start. Even
Mm.
if it's just making a start, any progress is good progress,
Mm.
which is something I've had to kind of had drummed into me over the years. And like the fact that
Mm.
it exists is a good thing.
Definitely. Okay, well, let's open it up to some questions. I think we've had a couple of comments already, but feel free to post these in the comment box below. Any tips you've got you want to share, or any questions that you'd like to ask us. And I'll have a quick scroll up now. Oh, I think we've got a shout out from Hong Kong. Hello, hello to Hong Kong. And yes, congratulations for your admissions to the Masters in Architecture. Um, and ooh, I'll add things to my phone's calendar if I'm on the go, but I also set aside a time during the week to go through and put anything in my phone into my paper diary. Definitely.
That's a good
Get it
plan.
all admin, yeah, just to get it in there so it's all in one place. Otherwise, you'll have two that you'll be.
I've just realised I didn't show you my to-do list, my
Oh,
absolute
nice.
geeky to-do list, which is empty at the moment because I finished my PhD work for the week yesterday, so I've ripped it up ready for next week. But
Mm,
having a to-do list like that has really helped me
mm,
prioritise what I need to do in a day. So if
mm,
I've got to read an article by the same day, that goes in at the top with an urgent tick next to it.
mm,
But yeah, things like that have really helped me prioritize what I need to do, because there are so many times
mm,
where it's easier to do the easier thing rather than the thing that needs to be done
mm.
first. I've just seen there's a comment, when you find yourself
Yeah,
stuck in a rut
I've
or
got a question from Tristan, because I don't think these show up later on Instagram Live, so I'll just read it out quick.
okay.
When you find yourself stuck in a rut or having an unproductive day, what tricks do you use to reset?
To me it's the Pomodoro. if I feel like I'm
Mm.
not getting anywhere, I set a Pomodoro and almost, I don't want to say free write, but I just blurt my ideas onto a piece of A4 paper. Um,
Mm.
Again, I'm going to pull out a piece of paper from behind the camera like I meant to do this.
Mhm.
This
I
is
think I did earlier.
my next paragraph of my thesis. I've
Mm.
had to do the quotes from secondary sources in red, my things in green, and I took sort of 25 minutes to go, what am I actually trying to say in this paragraph?
Mm.
Scribbled down all my ideas. It was a good way, because I was sort of stuck in a paragraph and I don't know what I'm saying, I don't know why I'm saying
Mm.
it. It was a good way to get my mind back and refocused on what I needed to do. Again,
Mm.
mine's very specific for writing in a big thesis rather than specific odd
Mm.
jobs. But also the to-do list thing, having a to-do list
Yeah.
that says you have to do these 5 or 6 things in a day, prioritizing which are the most important, and maybe doing an easy job. When I used to write a to-do list every day, my first job would always be number one, wake up, because I knew if I didn't wake up, then nothing else was going to get done that day. And
Mm.
it made me feel like having a couple of these things, like wake up, brush my teeth, eat some breakfast, having a
Mm.
few ticks at the start of the day motivated me to actually finish my to-do list for the whole day.
Mm.
And then I would reward myself, normally with cake, which was always a good thing.
With the to-do list, I guess it ties in really well with the SMART goals technique, which might help. You can write whatever on your to-do list, but if you make a SMART goal, it just makes it a bit more clear and achievable. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So you're really setting yourself a goal that you can do in a specific time. It's not crazy, and you can measure how you have completed it or not. So I guess it would be having a paragraph plan for what you're going to write in the next bit of what you're writing, or if you need to do particular question and statistics, or knowing how many analyses you need to do, writing it out and setting that goal in your mind. You can tick it off each time as you go, as opposed to saying, I will complete this massive job, and then it's just like,
Yeah.
have I done it? Have I not done it? I've done a little bit. Does that count? And that really helps me definitely focus, or get me out of that unproductivity, because I'm like, yeah, I'm doing things, I can keep doing it, I can tick more things off. And it feels good ticking stuff off a to-do list. It's like, yeah, I did that. And the other thing is as well, I think we mentioned earlier, going out and sort of resetting my mind and where I'm at by just going out for a quick walk, not a long walk, just out, different scenery, and get back in, and then decide, yes, I'm going to start working now. I've had my time to reset the journey to return home, open up my computer, got all the programs up, I'm ready to go. And that helps me. So hopefully, Tristan, that might, if you want to adapt that maybe and see if that works for you, that definitely helps me. So hopefully it does for you, Megan.
Yeah, I was going to say, all
Mm.
those tips are good. I didn't know the SMART acronym before, but I need to write that down because that's
Oh.
really important.
I think I learned it at one of the graduate school training skills sessions. It was, yeah, I can't remember which one it was. Oh, actually thinking about it, they also did a really good shut up and write session. Again, I think
Yeah.
that links in with what you had for your English group, where there is a set time where you're all together and you don't do anything. You have to turn your Wi-Fi off, and you're there to write. And then after, I think it was like 20 minutes, they're like, okay, guys, have a break. So that's quite good as well, because that sets you the time. But if you can't have that group, you can have the Stay Focused app, which you don't require an actual person because the app does it all for you. I guess the only thing is you can't have a cup of tea with someone else, but I'm sure there's
Yeah.
someone in your house, or your I'm sure there'll be someone online.
I think there've been some of those with yoga retreats as well. So you kind of do
Mm.
2 hours work and then half an hour of yoga, which is a good way of
Mm.
balancing the mental work of your writing work compared
Mm.
to the kind of physical work of stretching and doing the yoga, which I've heard really good things about. It's a good balance, and
Mm.
I've heard people have had really productive days doing those. So,
Mm. Cool. Well, I think that's all the questions we've got for today. I'm just having a quick scroll through. Um, yeah, I think that's all we've got so far. Have you got any last minute things, Megan? Otherwise, I think we'll.
not that I can think of, just
Um,
that all our advice is just advice and you'll
mm.
manage to adapt it to your own schedule. Everyone's an individual and you'll find what works best for yourself. It does just take practice.
Mm. Definitely. Completely agree with that. So unfortunately, our chat today is only half an hour. But if you do have any questions in the meantime, feel free to message the official university channels, either here on Instagram or on our other accounts. And thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back in a couple of weeks talking about a different topic. So hopefully see some of you guys then. But otherwise, thanks for tuning in, and thank you, Megan, for joining us.
That's more than fine.
Yeah, see you all soon. Hopefully some of this has helped someone out there.
See you later.
Great. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.